The following event is a More Ace audio production. Introducing first, from London, England, the team of Ace and Skillit. This is the Kickout.
Yes. Welcome to the Kickout Podcast. My name is Ace.
I am Skillit.
Yes, and we are two super fans here to bring you an hour of nothing but wrestling. Yes. Coming up on the show today, we are going to recap on Survivor Series that happened this past Sunday in Atlanta. We got a Raw reload, find out what happened on Monday Night Raw. We are going to discuss The Undertaker's greatest moments. This Sunday saw 25 years of The Undertaker. And we got something super special for you. I had an opportunity to sit down with the Olympic hero, Kurt Angle. You will hear that very, very special interview a little bit later on. But right now, let's talk Survivor Series this Sunday.
Do we have to?
We have to talk about it. It's a must. It is WWE's second longest running pay-per-view.
Absolutely. It's one of my all-time favorite pay-per-views.
What is it that you like about the Survivor Series?
Like, you know, it's funny. Me and my boy Loud were sitting down today having some Nando's, and he said to me, "Do they still do the traditional Survivor Series matches?" And I always loved them as a kid.
Yeah.
And today they do the 5-on-5 now, when it used to be 4-on-4. But those are the fondest memories. You know, that with the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. All day.
Oh, they say because they don't actually do those anymore, do they? The 5-on-5 matches. They had one traditional Survivor Series match.
Yeah, it was with Neville, I believe.
I think Neville. I believe
the Dudleys.
I mean, it was at the pre-show as well, so I didn't even get to. I'll be honest, I kind of skipped through that.
Yeah, same.
But again, Survivor Series is one of my favorite pay-per-views, and it was for that very reason. You got the 5-on-5s, and it could and anything can happen in those matches, because if you don't know, it's an elimination tag.
That's right.
And it could end up being 4-on-1, it could end up being 2-on-2, it can end up being 1-on-all-5.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So, and you've seen some very great moments in Survivor Series.
Absolutely.
But it's strayed from that now, hasn't it?
Yes, it's not the same. You know, they based it more on singles matches now, especially this past weekend with the title tournament. Survivor Series this weekend, I wasn't a major fan of. You know, I wasn't really happy with how they booked Survivor Series this year. I
think there's a lot of fans that feel the same way as you, and I think it being predictable was
it's so predictable.
was the upsetting factor.
Yeah.
In terms of, we knew we was going to see Reigns Ambrose final. It was inevitable, and I think we always knew that if we saw Reigns Ambrose, that Reigns would probably walk away with it.
And then
I called the Sheamus.
You did. I didn't think they would do that, because I thought that would be too predictable.
Right.
But no, they actually went there, and I couldn't believe it. It's just, I mean, I was hoping for a Roman Reigns heel turn. I think the fans were hoping for it too. The fans were begging for it. And I think it would have been a perfect opportunity. They don't need to make. I honestly don't think they don't need to make Reigns their top guy in terms of a face.
You don't?
I think he could be a top heel, and eventually he will lead on to be a face.
Right.
But the way they have him cutting in promos right now is just so bad. It's corny as hell.
Is that his fault or their fault?
Both.
Really?
He's not really good at. I don't think he's good at being a good guy. I mean, if he's a bad guy, he doesn't have to talk much. When he was in the Shield, he wasn't really talking much, and he still came out looking badass.
Right.
So now he just doing all these stupid little promos, and it's just so off-putting.
So that was the main event of Survivor Series. Another big match was the Wyatt family versus Kane and Undertaker.
Yeah.
What did you think of that one?
I didn't enjoy that match either.
This is 25 years of the
It was just a squash match. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand it was like an anniversary special kind of match, and the entrance was dope.
Yeah.
I will say that.
The
Undertaker's entrance was amazing. But, you know, I'm a big fan of the Wyatts, not Strowman.
Right.
But I'm a big fan of the Wyatts, and I felt that, you know, they're going to be the guys in the future. They should have made him look a bit stronger, and it didn't, in my opinion.
It was kind of a wipeout.
Absolutely.
It was way too easy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody saw when WWE was in the UK, they kind of literally did that a few weeks ago. Yep. You know what I mean? There was no surprise in it. Yep. I don't know. I'm not really sure. Survivor Series, the big story was Sheamus comes out on top and has cashed in his Money in the Bank. He is now the current WWE champion. What do you think of Sheamus as a champion?
You know, I'm not that bothered by it like some people are. I feel he's got more years experience than Roman Reigns, and I think he could probably play a better heel as a villain and with the authority. As long as he doesn't have it for too long,
right.
I don't really mind. He's not ideal, but it will do.
And okay, so let's move on to the Raw reload this week, Monday Night Raw. What do you think of Raw this week?
Raw, I didn't really, yeah.
You didn't like anything this week.
It was a bad week for wrestling for me, man.
Right.
Like, Raw wasn't really entertaining. I enjoy New Day, as always.
Of course.
New Day was entertaining Raw. They were entertaining in Survivor Series.
Yeah.
That was it, really. My highlight was New Day on Raw. Everything else, it was just lackluster. Rusev, Reigns, okay match, but then confusing Barrett came out.
Yeah.
And so what is it? Is Sheamus and Barrett and Rusev, are they a team?
Are they doing some kind of European
I think they're trying to do
up?
something like that. I don't understand. That wasn't really explained properly. And Reigns still come out looking Superman.
Yeah.
He's still, it's just like, yeah.
With a chair and...
Yeah.
No, you're not into it. Was there any other highlights of Raw?
I did enjoy, even though it was quick, it was a bit rushed, the tag match between Owens and Breeze versus
Dolph and
Ziggler and Ambrose. Yeah. That was nice. But
that was a good match.
But they sped it up, but it was cool. And you know what was really nice as well? Naomi. She looked banging. Bro.
I'm a huge Naomi fan.
Oh my days.
And it irks me that she never really got the opportunity to be
a proper singles competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was there, like when it was like her, AJ and Paige were like going back and forth. She was there.
Yeah, she was getting in.
I feel like the heel turn was a little bit too early and premature.
Yeah. They didn't build it up properly.
No, I don't. It came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like she was smiling one week, and then the week after she was kicking.
Yeah.
I didn't know. But I do like Naomi a lot.
I think she's a very good wrestler as well. She's
a
great athlete. So I think she could. If they started pushing more of the Divas division with her, she should be in the mix too.
Yeah.
But they're doing the thing with the team bad stuff. It fits for them. It works.
What do you think of Charlotte and Paige this week? No,
man.
You're not. You're just not happy.
No, not this week, man. Like God bless Paige. She tries, but I think Charlotte and Paige. The matches are not that bad, but their promos and stuff. It's just. Have you noticed they didn't even mention?
Yeah, because I know there was a lot of complaints regarding that, and
as there should be. And her Flair was pissed as well.
Oh yeah. There's a Steve Austin podcast coming soon.
Yeah.
So I've heard that they weren't happy with what went down, and I mean we had a conversation about that last week.
Yeah.
And you said it was like in bad taste.
Yeah, man. They shouldn't do things like that. There's no need for things like that anymore. Anyway, it just doesn't make any sense. Like. It's just stupid.
If you don't know what we're referring to, they're referring to the fact that on last week's episode of Raw, Paige mentioned Charlotte's dead brother.
Yeah, and said that how he didn't have any fight in him. Who died because he died of an overdose. For people who don't know, and which was only like 2 years ago, so it's still fresh, But they do this all the time. They did this with Paul Bearer and CM Punk.
Yeah,
Eddie Guerrero and Randy Orton.
So do you think those kind of storylines are too far?
They don't need to do that. There's no. I don't think. It's just. I mean, someone's dead. Someone who. Who sacrificed their life. 300 how many days they do a year for your company, and you're gonna disrespect them like that. I just feel it's just out.
Is it just not more to have the audience?
Of course, I know why.
To suck them in more, to have them feel the story.
Does it work?
I think it does. Because you want to see the person get their comeuppance. Like, no, you've taken it. It's personal now. You know what I mean?
Okay, it might have worked before. I don't think it worked with the Paige and Charlotte.
No, I feel like that
didn't work.
Maybe because, like, in a bad way, we're not as invested in Charlotte. And even, like, I don't know, I think the Diva division's still quite new, innit?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I don't feel like they have the history enough to draw people in with those kind of storylines.
Yeah.
It just feels bad mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There you go. All right, so let's get to it, man. This week, I had the opportunity to sit down with a wrestling legend, hero, god. What are your favourite memories of Kurt Angle?
Kurt Angle, classic matches with Jericho.
Yeah.
His matches, he was a wrestling machine. His matches with Taker and One No Way Out, I think it's 06, I believe, or 05. The match with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21. Yeah. Kurt Angle, for me, undoubtedly one of the best wrestlers to ever live.
Top 5?
Yeah.
Really?
Of American wrestlers, I would say so.
Top 3?
or I don't know, top 5.
Definitely top 5.
Yeah, I don't know if he's top 3 because I need to really think about what I'm saying about other wrestlers because I might be missing out. But in American soil, I would say, top 5.
He is a beast, and I learned so much during this interview. So here he is, Ace meets Kurt Angle. Check this out.
The Kickout.
Right, it's your boy Ace, and I gotta say, I kind of had a bucket list of wrestlers that I really need to meet before I leave the microphone alone. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest, I've done maybe 2 or 3 of them. But this guy is definitely on my list, and I've done it. I'm so happy to have this legend in front of me. Kurt Angle, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, thank you.
It's a pleasure to actually have the opportunity to chat to you today. I've been a fan of you for a while, a long time. A very, very long time. We was actually supposed to do this interview a little while ago, but you got injured.
Yeah, I've been injured quite a bit.
How are you right now? You look
good.
great.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm 100%. I'm healthy. I'm looking forward to my tour here.
Yeah.
So this is the 8th time Impact Wrestling will be over here in January. So it's going to be a great moment for me. This is my last time. This is my Impact Wrestling retirement. So this is it for Impact Wrestling.
No way.
Most likely it'll be my last time wrestling in the UK.
Really?
Yeah. If I do, it'll be down the road some other time. But right now, this is my contract expires in January, and I told TNA this is my final time here in the UK. And you know what? I've wrestled here last year against Bobby Lashley. I've had so many great moments. I'm looking forward to, if I could have it anywhere, this is my wish, to have it in the UK.
There's a lot of wrestlers that are kind of, I'll be honest, they go past their sell-by date. They probably shouldn't be in the ring. I'm looking at you right now, I'm across the desk from you, you look great. You don't look like it's time for you to give up. At what point do you say, you know what I mean? What is it that makes you say, do you know what, I'm gonna leave this alone now?
You know, I the last couple of years, I started feeling the bruises, the bumps, the pain. And I know that I won't last forever. And if I can't put on that 5-star match, I'm not going to do it. Right. So I know I'm still capable now. I probably have 2 or 3 years left. But I will not be wrestling by the time I'm 50 years old. I know a lot of wrestlers have done that. Yeah. And they've gone well past their prime. I can't do that. I got to do it the right way.
When you see those older guys, I don't want to be disrespectful to them. When you see those older guys getting in the ring, and obviously it's quite the same. How do you feel when you watch those matches?
You know, the guys that have done it have been able to do it from their character point of view, gimmick. Right. You know, Ric Flair, he has the Ric Flair bump. Right. He does a little dance. He goes to the top rope and he gets thrown onto his back.
And Wu is just going to last forever, isn't
it? Yeah. So I think Rick could do it forever.
Right.
And Rick was one of the best wrestlers of all time 100%. At one point. So, but Hulk Hogan, same thing. You know, he shoots you off, gives you the high boot. As long as he can do the leg drop, I think he's okay. But Kurt Angle, fans expect to see 5-star. If they don't see it, then it's not going to work for me. So, and I know that. So I'm well aware of that. So as long as I can put on the 5 stars, I'm good. When I can't, I won't be wrestling.
Like your stats talk for themselves. I don't want to boost your ego or anything, but I mean, multiple world champion. But I think what is really, really, really impressive is Olympic champion.
You know, people ask me what was a better feeling, winning a world title in TNA or in WWE, or was it the Olympics? It's the Olympics. It defined me. There's nothing that I could have done or will do in my life from an athletic standpoint that will be better than the Olympics.
And we have to put out there, you did it with a broken neck.
Don't know how. You know, when you're young, I was in my mid-20s. You're dumb. You don't know. As long as you can get there and compete. You know, I had a doctor numb my neck up with Novocaine, so I couldn't feel it. And as long as I couldn't feel it, I was okay.
So what was that initial feeling like? Because, I mean, not all of us are going to experience a broken neck. I hope. I pray I never experience that. But when your neck is, where is the pain? Is it like in your spine? Is it in your back?
It's in your spine. It's in your neck. It runs down your arms. It's the worst feeling in the world. I've gone through it in the Olympics. I've gone through it in the WWE. I actually broke my neck 4 times there in a 2.5-year period.
Wow.
So it was hard. That was part of the reason I left the WWE is because the 300 days a year and my body with my neck not holding up. I just had to make a choice.
Right.
And I'm glad I did what I did. I went to TNA. It was a lighter schedule. The company treated me really good. And I was able to still compete and perform. And I did it better than anybody. So I just had to tone it down,
right?
And I did that.
Well, is it hard to, just going back? Was it hard to make the transition from amateur wrestling to professional wrestling? Because obviously, amateur wrestling is a lot more contact than sports entertainment or professional wrestling. Did you ever have because do you know what I watched Brock Lesnar sometimes, and I feel like he's gonna have a UFC flashback and just start ground and pounding people. Like, is it hard to not go as hard as you would go in the Olympics?
It took me a while to learn how to tone it down. It took, when I put somebody in a headlock, they're like, what are you doing? You're killing me. My head's going to pop. The thing is, I had to completely forget what I've ever learned in amateur wrestling, because pro wrestling is 180 degrees the other way. It's complete opposite. I had to learn not to be aggressive. I had to learn. I went by instinct only. Now I had to think. I had to have timing. I had to listen to the crowd. I had to communicate with my opponent. Right. So many different facets, and I had to learn how to give my body to my opponent half the time to slam me around. I wasn't used to that.
Right.
In amateur wrestling, you're taught to go for the kill. Don't think, go by reaction, and try to pin this guy as soon as possible.
Right.
Now I have to put on a show.
It's more of a show.
30-minute match. Yeah,
right.
It was a hard thing to adjust to, but I did it rather quickly.
I think no one's gonna disagree that you are, if not the greatest, or one of the greatest of all times in the ring, but you are also one of the greatest on the mic.
I don't know how.
I mean, where did that come from? I would love to know what Kurt Angle was like as a young boy. Were you that class clown? Were you that? Do you know what I mean? Like, and let me ask you this as well: which Kurt Angle is you? Because you've been a heel, you've been a good guy, you've been a bad guy, you've been very cocky, you've been very arrogant, you've been more humble. Which one is the Kurt Angle at home?
Well, what I'm most comfortable with is being the good guy.
Really?
That's how I am. I didn't know I had that other side to me. I wasn't a funny kid. Doing the comedic stuff with Austin. No, I just Vince McMahon came up with a character for me, and he said, "Do this, do that," and I did what I was told. And at the same time, WWE never trained me on the microphone. They just said, "Here, take this, say this. You either sink or swim. It's up to you." And I had to carry the ball, and I think I did rather well. So
very well.
I adjusted very quickly, and I didn't know I had that side to me. So it was a blessing from God. It really was.
Did you take influence from anybody on your character in WWE or TNA?
Man, no.
You just did it.
The one guy I really did look up to the most was Ric Flair.
Right.
And
he's the greatest on the mic.
Yeah, he's hilarious. You don't know what he's going to say. Yeah. And I love that about Rick. But I did what I was told, and all of my stuff was written for me.
Really?
Nothing came from Kurt Angle. It came from the writers.
Oh, right.
But I was okay with that. One thing I did, I remember one time they gave me a 3-page typed script to go out there and talk, and they gave me 10 minutes to do it. And,
wow.
And you had to do it. I mean, I've been able to adjust. I have a photographic memory, and I remembered everything.
Really?
Yeah.
So
crazy.
You'll remember me a year from now if I meet you in the hallway somewhere. And I'm like, yo, do you remember that interview we did?
Yeah. I'm not good with names, but I remember interviews.
That's excellent. Like, when you were a bad guy at Hill, I always think about this. Like, you have children, and are they wrestling fans as well?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay. What is it like going home and their dad is the bad guy that everybody's booing? Do they understand the difference between what's going on the show?
Yeah, my son Cody actually loves it. He loves when I'm the bad guy. He actually imitates me quite a bit.
Right.
And he likes the bad Kurt Angle. So they understand.
Right.
Even the young ones understand it's not real. As far as being the character I am. But they appreciate it. It's really crazy because, you know, I have a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old. Even my 5-year-old understands.
Right.
And I think because she's been around it, she's seen me actually perform, and they've adjusted. They understand what it is.
How is it like? What is it like when they watch you perform? Is it difficult for them to watch?
No, they love it. They love it.
Even seeing Dad get beat up, they don't mind.
Yeah. My youngest, you know, has cried a couple of times. She really thought I got beat up, but as long as I pick her up and say, "Hey, I'm okay," but they get it, and it's crazy because you wouldn't expect them to, but they understand.
Did the "you suck" chants ever get to you?
No, I loved it.
You did?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I never thought that I'd be portrayed that way, and then you know I thought I was just cursed.
Right.
You know, my music didn't help, but watching,
it kind of had the "you suck," but it's like "you suck."
Yeah,
it was good.
It was just went with, you know, it was going with the flow, and but seeing them do the same thing to John Cena, it's like, you know, okay, I get it. I get why they did it. You know.
Can we quickly talk about John Cena if you don't mind? I mean,
no, I love John.
You were kind of the guy that kind of brought him in.
Mm-hmm.
You had one of his first matches on TV. Was it on TV?
Yeah,
Is that right to say?
yeah. It was John's first match, and he was a phenomenal wrestler. He was a little rough around the edges at the beginning, but he showed that he's one of the greatest of all time. John, they stuck him with me for about 7 months. Right. We traveled around. We did a lot of work together. I knew he was going to be something great. He was a special kid. I actually gave him, gave him his finish, the attitude adjustment.
You gave that to him?
Yeah. It wasn't anything new. I just knew that it was something that would do.
You should get a check for that.
He looked good. I should get a check for it, but he looked good, you know, with someone over on him that he lifted. I thought it was a great move. And also, I gave him the STFU finish.
You gave him that as well?
Yeah, it wasn't anything new. I just gave it to him. We had a submission match one night, and I said, I think this would be great for you. So
if you're listening, you owe Kurt Angle a check.
Hey, I don't need any credit for anything that John Cena's done. He's done everything on his own, but it was good to contribute, to help him out, because they tied him to me because they knew I was the best at the time, and they just wanted me to teach him the ropes while he was in the ring. He was learning on the job.
Yeah. And
I did the same thing. So I had Triple H and The Rock and Austin doing the same for me, and Undertaker. John Cena had Kurt Angle.
I mean, he's having a hard time, kind of a hard time with the fans. He kind of embraced it now, but it seemed that at one point he was a bit shaken by the fact that he wasn't going over with the fans.
Yeah, well, let's not mistake why. Yeah. It's not that John isn't great. He is great. The fact that he's been labeled as unbeatable,
right?
Fans don't like that. They want people to be vulnerable, beatable. And John, it wasn't John's fault that Vince McMahon booked him that way. So the fans, half the fans hate him. It's not because he's not good.
Right.
He's one of the greatest ever. They're booing him because they're tired of him winning.
Right.
So that's not John's fault. And but John has embraced it. He's great on the mic. He understands it. And I think there should have been a time along the line where they turned him heel. I just don't think they wanted his merchandise to go down. And
it's kind of too late now, isn't it?
It is too late, and I thought they could have done it last year, but they didn't. So you know, John is where he is, but he's going to embrace it, and he's gonna do an incredible job. He always does.
So you're over here in the UK. You're doing a question and answer tour.
Yeah, I never did it before, man. This is great. I know they've done it quite a bit. I think Ric Flair's done it, Sting, Mick Foley. I know that Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. I don't know what they're going to ask me.
What is the most asked question to Kurt Angle, just on Twitter or when you meet fans? What do they ask you a lot?
They always ask me what my favorite moments were. That seems to be the biggest question. I'm looking for this tour to be more of a personal Kurt Angle.
Right.
You know, what was it like for the Olympics? What was it like getting into pro wrestling? What was it like, straightening up? You know, going through rehab and staying clean the last few years. Those personal questions that people don't want to ask. That's what I'm looking forward to answering.
I mean, you did mention rehab, so we can talk about it. You had a bit of a drug issue.
Yeah.
Problem,
It had to do with medication, painkillers, anti-anxiety medication that I was taking. It stemmed from the broken neck, and it started from there, and it got out of hand. I'm not ashamed of it. I actually, when I got my painkiller problem under control and started taking it from a doctor's standpoint of view, I started drinking. So I kind of replaced it. But I've been clean now for about 2.5 years, and I'm not ashamed of talking about it. So I know it's something that I'm going to have to deal with, and it's okay. I'm pretty open about it.
Was there anything like? Because like I said, I've been following you for a while, and I did follow your move to TNA. Like there was some really personal moments, like with you and your family and your ex-wife and stuff. Was that something you actually wanted to like live out on screen, or was it? No,
that was a difficult thing. The thing is, my marriage was never good. My first marriage was never good, and I knew it wouldn't last. The only reason I did allow it to be aired is because I knew I would see my kids more.
Right.
My 2 oldest kids, I adore them, and knowing that my ex would be at the event, I knew my kids. We had a deal. My kids would be there, so the trade-off was I get to see my kids more. I'm going to do it, so I did it.
Having a feud with your ex-wife's new partner, was that? Did you ever not hold back? I mean, did it ever get super physical?
You know what? You would think I would want to kill him, but no. It was. The thing is, Karen, my ex did what she had to do to be happy, and that was the smartest move she made because it wasn't going to work with me. I knew that. She knew that. So, Jeff Jarrett and I never had any problems with each other.
You're still very cool now? Or
yeah,
are
we're
you
cool.
Even?
We're cool. We're okay. There's nothing wrong. To be honest with you, our lives are better. Her life, his life, and mine. If you don't have hard feelings, what are you going to fight about?
We hear a lot of like backstage politics. Were there any wrestlers you had personal issues with? You don't have to say who they were.
You know what? Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I've seen it. I'm not going to talk about the things I've seen with other wrestlers. I've never had to deal with it. I know that I'm sure that people have tried to do it to me. But I haven't been into politics. I've always been someone that understood the business and understood that in order to make superstars, you got to create them. How are you going to create them? By beating each other. And I wasn't one to say, hey, I'm an Olympic gold medalist. Nobody's going to beat me, and I'm going to politic for myself. I've always been about the company. I've always been a company guy. I've always put my talent over that I've wrestled. I've done it in TNA. I did in WWE. If there was a superstar coming up like a Rey Mysterio or a John Cena, I put them over when the time was right. Here in TNA, I did that for many wrestlers: Bobby Roode, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, EC3. So I didn't have a problem doing it because when it comes down to it, if you win all the time and you politic for yourself, there's nobody around you that's going to be able to draw, and you want them to be able to draw. I want somebody to want to see the rematch of Kurt Angle versus EC3.
Yeah,
the only way is EC3 beat me,
right?
And it's going to be intriguing. Yeah,
so that is important for you to kind of help the newer guys and the younger guys.
Yes, very much so, because I know that I'm creating somebody that I can compete with down the road.
Who was the guy that helped you and put you over when you were first starting? Is there anybody that you would kind of say, look,
who stepped up for me big time? Austin, The Rock. They were very, very generous to me. Undertaker. They really, at a time when I didn't know what I was doing, they carried me through the matches and they put me over.
Right.
They created a superstar that they could draw money with, and I give those guys a lot of credit for that.
So there's a lot of I hear a lot of veteran wrestlers talking about the difference between now and back in the day. And they're like, well, it's not how it was. What's your viewpoint on how the business is now in terms of how it was maybe when you started?
Well, there's never gonna be an attitude era.
Right.
Thank God I was part of the tail end of that, because both companies want to be more of a family-oriented type of company. They're gonna stick with the PG rated.
Right.
The
Is
attitude
that good?
era.
Is that good for the business? You think? No.
But if the thing is, it is from a certain perspective because you're going to want to bring your kids to it.
Yeah.
If your kids want to see it, the parents are going to come. Both are going to be involved. Back then, it was about the young adults, 18 to 34. Whatever we could do to make them happy, to draw money with them, we were going to do it. And it's not like that anymore. They want their parents to spend their hard-earned money for their kids, and that's what parents are going to do. So is it good from a family perspective? Yeah. Is it good from a ratings perspective? Obviously not, because the ratings back then were a lot higher. But, WWE's a publicly traded company now. They can't take the chance of stepping over those, those barriers that they were easily able to do back then. But it's not a bad move. I mean, I think we just have drawn a different type of audience. But I liked the young adult audience before, and we were getting a lot more women back then.
Yeah, really?
We were, yeah.
The women gone, what do you think we need to do to get the women back?
I'll tell you what we have done, and it's done tremendously, is the Divas and the Knockouts.
Yeah, 100%.
The WWE and TNA, showing that women have the ability to do what men do. It always works.
Well, speaking of Divas and Knockouts, Ronda Rousey, she just took her first loss. I mean, what was your opinion on her and her
honestly,
run?
I know this is a true fact.
Yeah.
I don't think she studied her opponent.
Really?
The home was a southpaw. Yeah. She was a lefty. Ronda was walking into every punch, which means that why would she want to fight a boxer that could outbox her? Ronda should have either crowded her or stayed away, and every time Holm would throw a punch, she should have attacked her legs. So obviously she didn't scout her, but let's not forget who Ronda Rousey is.
You think she can come back?
It doesn't matter. Ronda Rousey has drawn, will draw more money than any female has ever drawn because of what she's done.
Right.
She's a legend. She's going to be considered the greatest female fighter ever, regardless, because the young girls that are coming up through, they're going to compare themselves to Ronda Rousey.
Right.
Ronda Rousey should not be ashamed of anything that has happened. Everybody loses, and she was going to end up losing somewhere. Does she come back? If she does, she can't go backwards. She got to go forward. So she's going to have to take the rematch. I don't know if she wants to do that.
We hear rumors about her getting in the squared circle.
And I think that would be a good move for Ronda Rousey. Obviously, when Brock Lesnar got sick and he couldn't compete in UFC anymore, he went back to WWE. I think that Ronda Rousey would be a great way for her to expand her career. Right. I don't think she has to fight anymore, but the problem is who's she gonna wrestle? Bella twin? I mean, really, what are you gonna do with Ronda Rousey? Yeah. I mean, she can beat up most of the guys there.
That's
so
true.
I don't know. I think it's a great move for her. I just don't know what you do with her.
You could have her in that kind of well, it's PG now, so you can't even do that. They can't even do that, can they?
They won't let her fight guys. So it's not going to happen. So what do you do with her? That's the problem.
Wow. I also hear from a lot of wrestlers that they feel like social media and the internet spoils wrestling. Because before things happen, we hear rumors and people say this is going to happen, or I've heard this guy's coming to the end of the contract, and it does spoil the excitement a little bit. Do you feel that way?
Well, let's not forget there were always the dirt sheets. The problem is now you had to find the dirt sheets. Now they're there in front of you. Every time you go on Twitter, there's a wrestling site that's putting up spoilers. Right. So you can't get away from it. Back then you had to find it. Right. So people that don't want to see spoilers, it's like, damn it, why did I see that? I didn't want to see it. But that's because of social media. So yeah, it has messed that up. Yeah. From that perspective.
Are you involved in social media at all? Do you get in? Are you tweeting a lot?
I do it because
because you have to.
It's hard. It's tough. I don't really want to go on every day, but I know it's the thing to do.
Right.
I wish it wasn't like that. I liked it the way it was before, but you got to keep up with technology. You have to do it. So your value goes up if you get more followers. That's what sucks.
You don't like that.
No,
No.
I don't like it. You know, I look at someone like Brock Lesnar. He never goes on there.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to, but someone's doing it for him.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you think Brock should have beaten the streak? Do you, in your opinion, how did that going down? Was that a good move or a bad move? Or how would you have called it?
The streak?
Yeah, if you had the choice, if you were the person in charge of all things on that night, you wouldn't have broke the streak?
No. I think that Undertaker's legacy was that.
Yeah.
It was WrestleMania, being undefeated. But I always say this, if anybody's going to beat Undertaker, Brock Lesnar's as legitimate as it gets.
Right.
So there's nothing for Undertaker to be ashamed of. But, I mean, his streak should have never been broken. I remember when Undertaker asked me to break it.
Right.
And
so he's been asking people to break it for a while.
It wasn't the fact that he wanted anyone to break it. It was the fact that at the time, when I was there in 2006, Undertaker still didn't have that WrestleMania type of match that he wanted, that 5-star match. And he came to me and said, I know I can have that with you. The problem is, I was champion, so he had to lose. They didn't want to put the title on him. So Vince McMahon just said no. It ended there. And a lot of people were like, Kurt Angle brags about that. No, I'm not bragging. It just was an idea that Undertaker came up with, and it was shot down.
Right.
But he did have those WrestleMania moments with Shawn Michaels and Triple H. He finally had the 5-star matches he wanted, and with Brock Lesnar. But did I want him to lose? No. I think that his legacy is that he was undefeated. But if anybody was going to beat him, Brock Lesnar was a good choice.
You think so?
Yeah, gosh.
I don't know.
Who else?
I don't know.
Well, who else would you want to beat Undertaker? This guy was a UFC champion, an NCAA champion. He's probably one of the greatest athletes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just thought that Brock was the most legitimate.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to agree to disagree on that one.
Well, do you have anyone else in mind?
I mean, I would have loved to seen you come back and maybe do it, or even like a weird Undertaker Kane angle would have been cool.
Yeah.
Or, do you know what I mean? Or,
I understand
or
that.
Sting. I mean,
Sting is a legend.
I don't know. I'm not sure about Brock.
You have to remember this from a money making standpoint. You have Sting beat him. Sting's going to retire. What are you going to do? Like you have Brock Lesnar, after he beat Undertaker, they gave him the title. True. And he drew money. So you had to do somebody younger. Would you want to go with someone really young, like a Bray Wyatt or a Roman Reigns? I don't know if they were ready for that. No, Brock was ready for that.
Do you have a greatest match of all time? Your personal favorite? I mean, I know you've been in thousands upon thousands, but was there a match when it was just all clicking for you?
Well, you have to remember that I was at WrestleMania 7 years. All my matches were phenomenal. And the reason it's because it's WrestleMania. Did I have better matches than that? Yes, with AJ Styles. But a lot of people didn't see that. Right. So what's my greatest match of all time? Or Samoa Joe. If you haven't seen some of the matches him and I had, I'd have to say Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 21, because it was WrestleMania and it was Shawn Michaels, and we had a hell of it was a great 30-minute match. WrestleMania 19 with Brock, WrestleMania 20 with Eddie Guerrero. I had a great triple threat at WrestleMania 22 with Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio. But or even on SmackDown, Brock 1 hour Iron Man match.
Yeah.
There's so many different ones, but the matches I had in TNA with Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. Oh man,
two of my favorite guys as well. AJ Styles, I think is.
AJ is he was another Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
He was every bit as good.
Yeah,
and I don't think anybody will ever compare him to Shawn, but he is that good.
That's a shame, isn't it? Yeah. What does he have to do to get
exposure?
That? Yeah,
I think that TNA, TNA took him very far, because we were making a lot of noise back in 2010, 2009. And TNA was really running hard. It was a small company like that making noise like that. It was pretty phenomenal. But in order to be considered one of the greatest of all time, you're gonna have to make a WWE run.
I've said this over and over again in terms of the talent. I think TNA, amazing.
Awesome.
In terms of the roster, amazing. Like some of the best talent I've ever seen.
I've had a better career in TNA, and I'm very proud of that.
Really?
Yeah. We had some great Bobby Roode, Bobby Lashley, EC3, Eric Young. I've these past 2 years, I've had just as good matches than I ever had because of TNA's roster.
What do you think they have to do though, just to up the levels to get the exposure that we're talking about? That kind of exposure that.
Well, they're working hard.
Yeah.
They really are. They're trying to reform the company. They're trying to rebuild it. They're not giving up. I mean, I just had a conference call with Dixie Carter last week, and I'm telling you, this woman's looking long term.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are like, TNA's not going to be around. Yes, they will. They're going to. Dixie Carter is making sure this company's going to be around for a long time. She's got a lot of big plans. So I don't know. I think it's just the fact that they need to be wise about how they spend their money. I think they need to be over here more. The UK is phenomenal as far as getting a great crowd for the shows. It's the only place that we're drawing thousands of fans to come to our TVs. To have more TVs over here, I think would be a lot smarter choice.
I gotta say, like, going to a TNA show, like the difference between going to a TNA show and a WWE show is like, when you go to a TNA show, it actually feels like the Attitude Era. It's kind of so like the crowds are more rowdy and more up.
Yeah, they're more with it.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it is fun. It's a lot of fun. So
it is different, but you know, you got to remember, WWE, you're getting the whole. You know, you're getting the whole experience. You're getting the pyro and the lights and the technology. TNA, you know, they do the best they can, but the past few years they've had the budget because they took a big hit. We started traveling city to city every week and trying to do what WWE did. Lost a lot of money doing that. So you know, they're rebuilding now, and you're not seeing that pyro and you know, all the lights and the, you know, what you do in WWE. And I think that's the only thing that's hurting TNA. Other than that, the talent's off the
amazing,
chart.
100%.
Yeah, off the chart.
Sorry, I did have a question. It's gone. Yeah, no, do you know what I do love as well? The fact that there's like a load of UK stars in TNA as well.
Yes, and we got some great ones. You know, you look at the guys that we've been able to recruit. When we had Magnus, he was phenomenal. Bram's a great talent.
Yeah.
Rockstar Spud. Mandrews is great as an X Division wrestler. We got Drew Galloway. Obviously, he's from, I think, Scotland.
He's from Scotland, yeah.
And Grado. Grado's been...
Yes.
The kid's entertaining as hell.
Very entertaining.
I love the kid.
And he could wrestle.
I didn't know he could wrestle. He actually can, you know. I thought he was just going to come in and get his ass kicked, but he's done good. He's done a good job.
Kurt Angle, you're doing some movies, I hear, as well. Is that something?
Yeah. I signed with an agency, APA. I've done some different movies in the past. Not as many as I'd like, but now that my schedule's going to be freed up, I'm looking forward to doing more in Hollywood. So that's definitely in the near future. I just did a movie and it kind of sucked because we had an incredible fight scene that we did with Vin Diesel.
No way.
It got cut out of the movie. I was only in it for 10 seconds.
No way.
But you know what? It was fun. I got to spend a lot of time with Vin, got to know him really well. It felt like the same as when I did Pain and Gain with The Rock.
Right.
We had a great fight scene in that movie. But you know, starting out in Hollywood, you know, I'm not getting lead parts. I'm going to have to take these, you know, supporting, you know, parts with big stars though, which has been an honor for me. But I've had a bigger role in Warrior, and I did Dylan Dog with Brandon Routh, who was Superman and Superman Returns. I had bigger parts in those movies, but I'm willing to take the smaller parts to build up.
You enjoying the movies though?
Yeah, I like it. I love doing it. You know, it takes a lot of time. It's incredible. You know, you're in a movie for 10 seconds. You spend 3 weeks there. You know? So it's crazy. It's a lot different.
Is the movie money different from the wrestling money?
You know
which do you prefer?
I've been paid pretty well for the movies. I can't complain. For the parts I've had, not bad. Not bad at all. But no, I will say this. Been paid a lot more in pro wrestling than I did in movies. So I'm sure that hopefully that'll turn around though. I'll start getting a lot bigger paychecks. I
could talk to you all day, but I know we've got to wrap this up. I did one last question. I think like everybody would get at me if I didn't ask. You've said this is your last year at TNA.
Yes.
Is there a chance that you're going to end your career at WWE?
There's always a chance.
Okay.
I haven't talked to them. I even told TNA.
Would you like to?
I don't know. I will tell you this next year I'm going to take off. I have talked to TNA about the future there, and there's a big possibility I could stay. I have not talked to WWE. I've not reached out. I'm going to take some time off. I'm going to see what I want to do. It's always nice to know that TNA is willing to offer me another contract, and that's great because they've been really good to me. Dixie Carter has been phenomenal to me. People always ask me, why are you staying? Why aren't you going to WWE? When someone treats you the way that you want to be treated, you can't deny the fact that Dixie Carter has done very well for me, both from pushing me as a wrestler the way they should to paying me. She's done a phenomenal job. So it's hard to just walk away from somebody that's treated you well the whole time you've been there.
Right. So it could happen. It may not happen. You could stay.
Yeah, I could stay. I could end up. I'm gonna take time regardless.
Yeah.
But I could end up back in TNA. But I could also, I might end up talking to WWE. I don't know.
If you did go back, do you have something in mind that you'd like to do?
No, I don't. But I know that if they did bring me back, it would have to be a very, very, highly rated, anticipated match.
I think the fans know what we would like to see.
What do the fans want?
You brought him in. He couldn't help take you out. So I think that would make sense.
It makes sense. You're right. I've heard that quite a bit. I wouldn't mind another round with Brock, and I wouldn't mind. There's some great young talent there. I want to get my hands on Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins,
Kevin Owens. You and Kevin Owens would have a good run.
Oh gosh, Kevin Owens, what a great talent,
He
huh?
is a good talent.
I mean, he moves better than anybody for his size. Dang. But there's some Cesaro. I'd love to wrestle him. There's a lot of great talent there.
Kurt Angle, it's been an absolute pleasure. We can't wait to see you over here again. And the Q&A tour, I'm pretty sure you're going to get some really weird questions. But
I'm looking forward to it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. The Kickout Podcast with Ace and Skillet.
So there you go. That was what happened when I had an opportunity to sit down with Kurt Angle. I feel like I learned so much.
Absolutely, man. That was brilliant. That was brilliant.
There you go. I mean, like loads of the things that kind of stood out for me in that interview. He was very open about his drug addiction.
Yeah, he liked you, man.
Man. We went out for a drink after. I took him to a strip club. I'm joking. No. It was. I mean, he was very open.
Yeah.
In terms of things like that, I didn't think you'd want to talk about in terms of like his drug addiction. Also, I've always wanted to know about we were talking about earlier, the line between personal and creative. You know what I mean? And the fact that he had to have a feud regarding his ex-wife and another wrestler who then who went on to marry his wife. Do you know what I mean? That's got to be difficult. So he was quite. I'm very happy that he was quite open about that.
Yes, me too. I'm glad that he didn't like it either. I'm glad that he didn't like the fact that they did that because that's not on. But hey, it's wrestling. You know what wrestling's like. It
is.
But I'm glad he mentioned the matches with AJ, Samoa Joe, and Rey Mysterio.
Yeah,
they're like one of my favorite matches ever as well.
Definitely, man. Big ups. AJ Styles is looking like he's coming over to WWE.
I hope he does.
Yeah.
They need more talent like him in that ring.
They need more talent in general.
They do need more
guys getting injured at the moment.
One thing they're doing really well in WWE, they're getting a lot of great in-ring talent, but not so much talkers.
Right.
They need some more talk.
So I just want to say again, big up to Kurt Angle for sitting down with me. That was an awesome interview. You got any more favorite Kurt Angle moments that we could talk about?
Well, he mentioned Shawn Michaels matches, which I think is a 10 out of 10. Him and Eddie Guerrero at WrestleMania, 10 out of 10. I loved, you know what? I loved the feud, even though it wasn't a great year in terms of the invasion angle, but the feud he had with Austin was nice.
It was good.
Obviously, when he first debuted in TNA, amazing. The way he entered and headbutted Samoa Joe. Classic moments. Angle was, for me, one of the greatest. And yeah, man.
He had some awesome comedy moments as well.
Oh,
We had the milk truck. Obviously,
the milk truck, the free eyes.
The free eyes, you know what I mean? He had that weird obsession with Stephanie McMahon.
Yep.
That was funny as well.
There's the angle with Triple H, Steph, and Trish.
Yeah.
When Triple H bent over Trish.
I remember that. Yeah.
Angle and Austin with the Kumbaya singing.
Yeah.
Angle and Edge and Christian.
Exactly.
Even them three were great.
Crazy, man. And at the end, I had to ask him about, his return to the WWE, if it's ever going to happen. What did you take from that?
I think he's definitely going to come back.
Yeah.
He's someone that's definitely going to get Hall of Fame. He's someone that definitely deserves a send-off.
Yeah.
I don't see why they wouldn't want to do that for him.
And how would you, if he does come back, how would you want to see him do it?
Good question. I don't know how they're going to fit him in. A lot of comebacks these days. Look at what they did with the Dudleys. The Dudleys came back, great response when they've come back, but look at they've been a bit lackluster since.
Right.
They're not. So obviously his Angle's a bigger star than them, but I would say bring back Angle maybe as a bad guy, straight up wrestling machine, badass again, and beat Cena.
There you go. All right. So Survivor Series this past weekend saw the 25th anniversary of the introduction of The Undertaker. That's a very good Paul Bearer. I mean, it's been 25 years of just dominance, man.
Yeah, man.
And you know what? Like, it just had me thinking about the evolution of the Undertaker, and it's kind of like even though it's this dead man character. It hasn't always been this dead man character.
No.
You know what I mean? It's always been a dead man character.
Yeah.
But it's not like this dead man character.
Yeah,
it's just like the evolution of it's been crazy.
He's someone that should not have survived that gimmick, but he made that work so well, and hats off to him, and I don't know how he done it, but Undertaker is a legend today, and 25 years later we're still talking about the man.
Let's just think about the original gimmick.
Yeah.
He was a dead man.
Coming out with Brother Love.
Who used to come and dominate you with like 3 or 4 moves, then put you in a body bag and take you out.
Absolutely.
That's crazy.
One thing I would say about his debut, if you look back at Survivor Series 91, like the kids were actually shook.
Very scared.
So it did pay off from the start, and I guess, the way they pushed him had to be, he had to win the title within months.
Yeah.
Because otherwise no one would have taken him seriously.
And even like in the earlier Undertaker days, there wasn't much to the match. I don't know if it was a lot of, because when you think about the wrestlers they had back then, they weren't doing a lot of stuff that some of the wrestlers do now.
Yeah.
So it was short matches. It was just a few moves. It was it was a lot
of spots. His matches were spots.
Loads of spots.
Yeah.
But it's almost like he got better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over the years.
Yeah,
and then
he absolutely did.
He started getting them 5-star matches.
He absolutely did, yeah.
Just started going in, doing more things, you know what I mean?
Like, in my opinion, in the 90s, from the early 90s to the mid-90s, he's only, in my opinion, great matches with like Bret Hart. You know what I mean? Like, they used to put him against all these terrible monsters and they could never really see what he can do.
Yeah.
But when you had matches with Bret, likes of Shawn, Hell in a Cell, that's when matches were becoming great. Oh, Foley, his matches of Foley were phenomenal.
Yeah.
So that's when they started putting in opponents like that. That's when I started liking Taker. I never really liked him growing up because he was facing these waste guys, which is not his fault, obviously.
Yeah.
But so, and obviously that's why it took him so long to get a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like Angle said, like a 5-star match that he wanted.
So favorite Undertaker moments?
I'm going to go with matches first.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Hell in a Cell with Shawn, the Hell in a Cell with Foley, Mankind, and the match with Shawn, WrestleMania 25.
See, you're so good. You remember which WrestleManias they were. I'm not really good at it. Mine, definitely Undertaker, Yokozuna casket match.
So at Royal Rumble.
There you go.
Yeah, 93. 94, I think.
Do you know what I just thought about was Undertaker versus Undertaker?
Do you remember that?
That was weird.
That was awful. And DiBiase was managing him, right?
Yeah. And it was like 2 Undertakers.
Yeah. Wasn't that the guy who played
who was it?
That DOA guy? You know the DOA tag team?
Yeah.
One with the long hair.
Right. That
was him.
Undertaker, that wasn't one of my favorite moments.
No.
And I always talk about this. I feel like I speak about it in every podcast. You're probably likely to hear this throughout the years. I had the opportunity to go to WrestleMania 20.
So jealous.
28.
It was 28.
Was it 28? It was 28.
It was 28.
In Miami. It was Rock Cena 1. But in the middle of the show was Undertaker Triple H 2, the second time. Shawn Michaels was a special guest referee.
That was crazy.
And it was one of my favorite wrestling matches of all time. It was so good. Like, it was just so good. Like, I've never seen any. I don't know if like, because I've heard people say the match wasn't that great, but I feel like maybe I enjoyed it more because I was there. I don't know.
But the thing of what the testament of how good that match is maybe it wasn't that great, but in terms of how they booked the match and how the spots it was amazing. Like, the spots were great. And so when you're there, I mean, the whole crowd was going nuts. You could see it.
Insane.
It worked.
They literally sucked the energy out of the whole arena. It was for me, it's a moment I'll never forget.
So you got to see that bit when they walked up to the ramp.
I saw the whole thing,
and they hugged in
man.
the ramp. And,
Do you know what? My favorite part of the whole match was when it was like Shawn Michaels was trying to not get involved, but then he was getting involved. And then he gave him Sweet Chin Music, followed by a pedigree. And Undertaker still kicked out. And the whole crowd is just like, whoa, what is this?
And the way Michael sold out was amazing, right? In the corner, like he's about to cry. And
amazing.
Yeah, it was great. It was great story. Great storytelling. That's what it is.
100%, man. What it is. So Undertaker, we definitely salute you.
Absolutely.
Let's hoping there's not 25 more years of the Undertaker.
No, it needs to stop. By the next WrestleMania needs to be the end.
We don't.
We love you. Enough respect, but your time is done. Thank you for everything you contributed. Now, before we go, last match. Who should he end it off with? Who should his last match be?
Good question, man. I can't say, man.
I think Cena.
I don't know. Like, I mean, on paper, it makes so much sense.
Absolutely.
But I don't think the fans want that.
Well, I don't want to see Cena in a title picture. So Cena's already built his legacy, right? Cena's done everything. So now what he needs to do is just have great high spot profile matches.
Yeah.
Taker Cena's kicking it off with the new Cena regime of matches.
So you think Cena should be the one to take Undertaker out?
Yeah, end it off.
Nah, I've worked out. It's got to be Triple H.
Triple H.
He's never done it.
No, but
he's never beat him. So maybe that's got to, because you always have to go out on a loss, don't you?
I don't know. I want to see Triple H take a free. You know,
you always got to go out on a loss, and I think it's got to be Triple H.
But what if you turn Cena bad? When he, maybe he can't beat Taker, then he just resorts to some heel stuff. I would love that. That would be amazing.
That'd be sick.
That's how I would have done the streak if it wasn't Lesnar. I would have done give it to Cena and make him turn bad on the streak. That's what W should have done.
If Cena broke the streak, he would be the most hated person.
And
they don't like him already.
Absolutely. So he'd be the most hated person, but he will turn bad. So the hate makes sense.
Wow.
He's drawing the heat that he would have got anyway. Anyway, I don't know.
I mean, feel free to leave us a message or a comment as to who you guys think should have broken the streak. Tell us your favourite Undertaker moment. And I think that's about it from us,
Absolutely, man.
We'll be back next week. This has been the Kickout. Thank you very much to everybody that's been locked in. And big up to Kurt Angle again. And till next week. I've been Ace.
I've been Skillit.
Later.